Welcome to the Indian Sun. I'm Indira Lystrom. My conversation today is with 21-year-old Melbourne native but Indian-born Ashwarya, described as a weird and witty new voice in the music scene, an ascendant star known for her jaw-dropping new takes and familiar sounds. Ashwarya has also been embraced by the fashion industry as a star with inspiring and covetable taste. Hi, Ashwarya. Thanks for taking the time to chat with us.
Hi, thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
So tell us about how you got started. Did you always want to be a singer?
I always wanted to be somewhat a part of the entertainment industry growing up. I remember when I was in primary school, I would beg my parents to let me audition for roles in different movies or TV series. And then obviously they were like, no, you need to, study and educate yourself first, and then you can do whatever you want to once you've educated yourself. So once I finished school, I just knew that music was my passion, and that was something that had always been very close to my heart. I always pursued music throughout high school and throughout primary school. So yeah, I always knew that this is definitely something that I had to take as a career rather than just something as a hobby.
And you started with a bang last year. You had 3 releases, right? And I know Psycho Hole has been universally acclaimed. But tell us more about the songs.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for that. I actually released my first single, Psycho Hole, in COVID. And the second one in COVID as well, Biryani. And it was a bit of a shock because when I was planning on launching my career, I didn't expect the pandemic to hit. So it was a bit of should I be releasing music in the middle of a pandemic when no one can meet me or watch me live? But I think it just felt right. I'd put in a lot of work prior to, just honing my sound and making sure that I knew who I wanted to be when I enter this industry. So when I put out Psycho Hole, I honestly didn't expect any of the, whatever you want to call it, acclaim or success around the track. And it was insane. It definitely just solidified the fact that, it felt like a risk at the time, but now it feels like I just followed what my gut instinct was, which was that, it's a really sick song and I should put it out. But answering your question in terms of what the songs are and what they're about, Psycho Hole was the catalyst for the EP that's come out, and all the songs that followed on from there have been in the same, I guess, thematic realms of Psycho Hole, but sonically they're all very different. And I just wanted to make sure that the EP is a fleshed out project of, a reflection of who I am as an artist, and kind of gives different facets of who I am as a person as well.
And I like the name Biryani, so does it have to do with your Indian background, all those names? Definitely, I'm sure.
Biryani is it's an ode to my culture, and it's an ode to my upbringing. My mum can make a pretty mean biryani, but I think more than that, it's a nod to, like I said, nod to my culture. I think when I was writing that song, I just thought of what's something that represents love and warmth and connection. And for me, when it comes to food, biryani is that dish. It makes me feel warm, and it makes me feel like when I come home and if there's biryani on the table, there's nothing better than that. So that's kind of how the name for the song came out about. And yeah, it's such a fun song. It was really fun to make as well.
So how did your release happen on Zoom, right?
So the music video?
Yes.
The music video for Psycho Hole was on an iPhone in my house, and a red bike light. Yeah. And I actually had to learn the song in reverse, which was a nightmare because I had to learn everything completely like reverse the whole song, and I had to perform the song all backwards. But it was great because it's been one of the most successful music videos of mine, and it was literally like just an iPhone and a bike light. So that was really cool. And then Biryani was me inside of a barrel with orange paint gradually seeping into the barrel, and it's kind of this tension. So by the start of the song, there's an empty barrel, and by the end of it, I'm drowning inside orange paint.
Oh my God, so creative. How did all those creative ideas come to you?
I think I was lucky because, I mean, I have my creative director, Emil, and he's been really helpful in kind of bouncing off ideas with me, especially in lockdown over Zoom. We were just able to kind of like talk about, okay, what do we have? We have an iPhone, we have lights, we have a GoPro, and then, yeah, we just had to like go from there. But I think that was the really cool part about the process, was that I was able to be I could self-manage my own creative, and I could just do it on my own, when ideally I thought I would need like lights, cameras, a whole team of people, which wasn't the case at all.
Let's talk about your recent release, which is the release for 2021, EP Nocturnal Hours, right? Do they tie with your music goals, the songs that you've produced?
Absolutely. I think the music goes hand in hand with my goals as an artist. It's actually just like a reflection of who I want to be and where I want to head. Yeah. And I think this EP is, in a sense, it's an extension of who I am. And it gives people, I hope it gives people the opportunity to see the different sides of who I am as an artist. And because it's quite a diverse EP as well, I think it keeps people on their toes, because I like to put out music that people don't expect.
Yeah. And I think that's the one unique thing that people are talking about, the fact that you're so different and very unique. Now, so what are the musical influences in your life? I mean, who do you look up to, and who are you inspired by?
Growing up, my grandparents, because they would come and visit me in Australia, I spent a lot of time with them, and inadvertently was able to watch a lot of Bollywood movies. Yeah. And that was really fun. And through that, I just learned a bunch of Bollywood songs from the 80s to early 2000s. So at the moment, if I look back at inspiration, it's definitely, in terms of Bollywood, it's the 80s and early 2000s. And then growing up, I listened to a lot of pop, R&B and hip hop music from the early 2000s as well. And then obviously over time that's expanded onto multiple different genres and multiple different artists. But growing up, I listened to so much Rihanna and Kanye and like Black Eyed Peas and like Jason Derulo, all the kind of pop sensations who are now like evergreen classic artists. Even in this era, a lot of Drake. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And when you say, like, when you talk about Bollywood of the 80s influencing you, who are some of those artists? I'm curious.
So I listened to, because my grandma was really into, there was an artist called Kishore Kumar.
Yes.
So I've heard of a lot of his songs. And then there was also another artist for the song Chahe Koi Mujhe Jangli Kahe. I just can't remember his name. The person who sang.
No, wait. Is it a male singer?
It's Mohammad Rafi.
Mohammad Rafi. I was saying Mohammad Rafi, yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And that's in before the 80s. And there was like, she would listen to a lot of like Lata Mangeshkar, and there's a lot of artists that that I would just listen to and I would know the songs by heart. And then kind of moving down the line, like I would listen to like A.R. Rahman and like Pritam. And I love that there is such a strong story behind Bollywood music, because it goes beyond just the music. There's the film and there's the sequence and the actors and the actresses. And that's really interesting to me. And I'd love to incorporate that into my music as well.
Interesting. Do you have any Bollywood aspiration? Because I know a lot of, Indian-born second generation kids are so, inspired and also have this aim to get into Bollywood because it's such a big industry.
I would love for my music to be utilized or used in a Bollywood movie. That would be surreal. I think in Bollywood, the music is really the star, if you think about it. I think we always look at the actors and the actresses, and that they're also incredible. But, because music is such a huge part of film in Bollywood, sometimes it's not as recognized. And I'd love to have that, front and center and recognized, because I think there is something to be said about Bollywood music and how influential it's been globally. Even like Toxic by Britney Spears has been sampled by a Bollywood song. So I would love to be a part of Bollywood and in any capacity. And let's see. I have no idea what the future holds.
I know, but you've done so well in this 2 years. And, so this is quite an initial stage in your journey, but have you had any challenges like of, writing, producing, and how did you overcome them?
I think the biggest challenge for me was, unfortunately, the COVID situation, because, as an artist, we thrive on doing live and performing for crowds. And, that's how we get exposure for our music. And it's been tricky not being able to travel internationally and work with different artists and different producers, or, just as simple as there was a point in Melbourne where we couldn't even leave our house. So even having that as a restriction was difficult at points where, like before I was saying I had to film everything at home. It can definitely, it can be tricky sometimes to manage the artist aspect of things, where it's writing and creating, and then also the other side where it's making visuals and collaborating with other people. So that was probably the hardest part, but it's been a very, because it's been a tough start in terms of adapting to this new environment. It's been such a huge learning, and now I can, move forward and like take all of these learnings with me and come out stronger. Yeah.
So like in terms of your educational background, you finished year 12 or you've gone to university. What is your...
Yes, I finished year 12. I did go to uni, and then I basically had to take a little break from my degree from music. And I thought that it would just be a little break because I need to focus on my music. But the amazing part was that became my full-time job. And I just got out of my degree because couldn't obviously do the two, and music is definitely more interesting.
Yeah, I know. So do you have in India, what you've got a guru, and how many hours of training do you do? How do you work on your skills?
I have a vocal coach who's based in Melbourne, and he have been training with him for years now. And we do lots of improvisation work where instead of doing lots of scales, we do a lot of scales as well, but we work on a lot of improvisation, which over the years I've just done myself. And that's what helps me a lot with songwriting, where I can just jump into a session and on the spot just improvise until I find the right sound.
Mm-hmm. And what is the biggest high, performing in front of an audience, I suppose, or having come out with a really good beat and something that you say, yeah, this is going to work?
You know what? They're two completely different things, and I love them so much, but there is absolutely nothing better than performing on stage for an audience. I think I just recently did my first headline show in Melbourne on Saturday night,
Yep.
and it was honestly one of the best nights of my life, because being able to see people sing along was surreal. It was so cool.
And do you have your parents' support in all that you're doing?
Yeah, they've been amazing. They've been honestly such amazing rocks for me throughout my life, and they support whatever decision I take with my career and in any decision in life. And they've raised me to be very independent, and in order for me to, you know, learn and grow, they've allowed me to, you know, make mistakes and learn from any kind of experiences that I've had. And I'm really grateful for that, because it's allowed me to make really informed decisions in every aspect.
And what's been the best feedback that you've got so far?
Best feedback. I remember when I got out of the studio this was a while back. And I had written Psycho Hall with my producer, Jared Rogers, and I had a very rough soundbite of the song. Even the lyrics weren't finalized. And I remember I was standing outside. I went to go pick up my mum from the station or something. And when she got there, I gave her my earphones. I like put it on her and I was like, listen to this song I made today in the studio. She heard it, and that was the first time she cried. And it was the first time where I felt like, you know, there's nothing more powerful than someone whose opinion that you value, you know, that likes your music. That was the first time where I was like, I'm so proud of what I've made. And the fact that my mom also, you know, reacted so strongly to it, it gave me the confidence to put that out as a debut track.
I was just interested because, you know, understanding that the Indian parents who are oriented to Bollywood music, I wanted to know what their reaction would be to your kind of music.
Surprisingly, my parents aren't that musical. So they're not in the music industry or anything. So they're not very musical, but they've always been just super supportive of everything I do. So I think even if I gave them a really weird track, they'd probably just be like, that's amazing. But in saying that, like, jokes aside, they've been very, they've educated themselves on music, on Western music as well. So they get it. And I think the fact that they're into it, you know, it speaks to me that, you know, other people out there who are maybe from an Indian background could also relate to it as well, because they didn't grow up with this type of music.
Are you the only child in your family?
Yes, I am. It's just me.
So you're lucky. You have all attention on you. Now, what is the kind of music that you're listening to nowadays?
I'm listening to so much music. I have a playlist on Spotify. It's just called Stuff I Like right now. And I just keep adding to that. So I listen to I've been listening to a bunch of new Australian artists and just a lot of new artists around the world that are coming up. And I'm just constantly keeping, updated with new music, because I think that's how I can grow as an artist, if I'm moving with other artists and getting acquainted with their sounds as well. But in saying that, I still always go back to the old music as well, because there's something to be said about why a song is old but also so successful, why it's evergreen. And I always try and pinpoint, like, why is this song still so good? Why am I not sick of it? Which sometimes it's just hard to understand. It's just an amazing song, but that's something that I aspire to have, some music that can last beyond just a couple of months.
Yeah. And I suppose as a musician or an artist, you have to, widen your horizon and sort of embrace all kinds of, genres, isn't it? Because, those little influences of everything sometimes gives you the perfect outcome.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I've been doing with my own music. I've been trying to meld different sounds together to create something that's an expression of all the crazy, inspirational artists that I've heard growing up. And right now it's like you can't even identify what pop music is, because if you go on pop music as a genre, it's literally just like what's popular right now. So that's it's a really exciting time to be a part of something like this, where anything can be considered pop if it's catchy and if it's exciting and if people can connect to it. So yeah, that's definitely the case.
Interesting. And you've been 2 years into the scene, but I'm sure a lot of people have heard about you and know about you, but those who haven't, how would you describe your music and yourself to them?
I would say I've actually only been in the scene for 1 year, so people wouldn't even know me, but I think I would say that, like, as in describe myself.
Are you
an artist?
Yeah, as an artist, yes.
My music it's hard hitting, it's edgy, and it's icy, but at the same time, at the core of it, it's emotive and it aims to connect with people and their experiences. And I hope that people can hear my EP Nocturnal Hours and have at least a song in there that they can relate with, because it does have different genres and different facets to who I am. Yeah.
Nice. And as a musician, what is the one instrument that you really like that goes well with your song?
Honestly, I'm a stickler for keys. Like, I love piano. I think that's a great basis for songwriting, but I'd love to experiment down the line with getting in other instruments, like maybe like a flute could be really cool in a song, or even like a harp. That's something that I'd love to experiment with down the line and get, people who are amazing at those instruments to come and play in those songs.
Nice. When do we get to see you perform next?
So my next gig is actually in Sydney. It's at the Chippo Hotel, but considering all the situation that's happening down there, we might need to look at rescheduling the event. But, as soon as I find out anything regarding shows, I will have it on my social media accounts for people to know. It's just a little bit tricky with COVID right now and being able to travel.
Now let's talk fashion. You've been embraced by the fashion world. What are some of the works that you've done in that space?
I have always had a really, keen eye for fashion, and I've always tried to express myself through the way that I dress. And for me, fashion is a really powerful tool. It can help me express how I'm feeling on the day, or even hide how I'm feeling on the day. So growing up, that's been one of the key points for me in terms of artistic expression. So I've been very lucky to be able to be featured in, the likes of Paper and The Face and Oyster Magazine, which are these amazing fashion magazines. And I've, it's a dream come true. I'd love to one day be able to have my own fashion line. But, I definitely want that to be an aspect of creativity moving forward as well, just to be able to express myself and hopefully have my own brand one day.
So what is your personal style?
It's honestly an amalgamation of like so many different things. For me, comfort is like the number one priority. I love just like a really sick track suit set. But I also just love like super cool prints and unique cuts and shapes. Anything that stands out, to be honest. I love to combine pieces where something is a little bit of a statement, and then the other part of the outfit is more simple. So like a simple top and a very out there pant. Yeah, I think I just honestly, if I'm just like, yep, I love that, I will wear it. I wore something a couple of months ago it was a performance with Fortnite and the Australian Open. There was a collaboration there, and I wore this puffy jacket and these puffy pants, but it was almost like, like a lobster. It was like, it made me look like a lobster, but it was so cool. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I cannot wait to get into that. So yeah, I think it's better when people look at you than not look at you when you're out on the street.
Yeah, that's true. But if there's one brand that you'd want to represent, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a hard one. You caught me off guard. You know what? I love
Sports girl.
I love what Adidas Originals do. I think they're really cool. I would love to collaborate with them on a design one day. So probably Adidas Originals.
All right. I'm going to ask you one last question. What is the latest project you're working on? I know you're preparing for your performance in Sydney, which hopefully happens if, the lockdown situation eases. But apart from that?
So I'm starting on the next project post this EP, which will most likely be an album. But I'm also working on collaborating with a bunch of different artists. So you guys will have to keep an eye out for any potential collaborations that happen down the line this year.
Okay, so you're available on all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that?
Yes, I am on all social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, you name it, everything.
And have your songs gone into Spotify as well?
Yes. So my songs are available on every streaming platform possible, including all the Indian streaming platforms like Ghana, Savan. It's on Amazon Prime Music India. So yeah, you can find my music everywhere.
Fantastic. Lovely. Can you sing us, before we wind up, one last tune or two or three lines from your latest release?
Oh my God. You're going to put me on the spot here.
That's a treat for our audience. Just a little treat for our audience. Two lines.
What should I sing? तुम हो मेरी दिल की धड़कन, keeps on beating for you. गलती से तुम पास मत आओ, 'cause I won't let you go. That's a line from Biryani.
Oh, that's so lovely. That was from Biryani, is it?
Yes.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much, Ashwarya. Wish you all the best for all your future endeavor. And we'll catch you again.
Thank you so much. Thanks for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Lovely. It was lovely talking to you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.